Hey, Stay Paid listeners, Josh here. Just a quick note about this week's episode. This is a previously recorded episode that we did before we had a little bit of a format change. And because those episodes are a little bit more timely, we wanted to make sure that we got those out. But we did want to get you this fantastic interview with Angela. She has a ton of golden nuggets all about lifestyle marketing. So sit back and enjoy this week's episode.
Welcome to the Stay Paid podcast, where we help agents and entrepreneurs master the latest business trends to unlock growth and create a life of freedom. Brought to you by Reminder Media.
Welcome to Stay Paid. My name is Joshua Stike along with Luke Acree, and our guest today is Angela Yungk. Angela is a Florida real estate agent, a creative entrepreneur, and the creator of Media Savvy Agent, a community built to help real estate agent professionals gain press and authority. Angela co-founded Art Hive magazine and currently serves as the lead real estate advisor at Arterra Luxe Florida. Angela, welcome to Stay Paid. Thanks for being here.
I'm really excited to be here. Happy to talk about all things content and real estate.
Angela, we are happy to have you. I know we were able to jump on a phone call a couple months ago. You are in the magazine publishing business, or were for a decent amount of time, which is a hard business to be in. We would know.
Stuff. Yeah, we made some magazines.
Yeah, everybody tells you magazines are dying. You're wrong. They're growing. But I know you went through a journey with that. I would love to hear just a quick synopsis so the audience can catch up of you were doing the magazine, ended up the pandemic happening, and you had to make this shift to real estate. Walk us through what was going on then and how you kind of chose to make the shift. Why real estate?
Sure. So to give premise to all of this, I started Art Hive magazine in 2012, right? A different world back then. And it was a printed publication. We had the pleasure of having wonderful celebrities grace the front covers. We were in stores nationally. And we grew that for about 10 years, really focused on arts, culture, and business in the South Florida area. All the while, I will say that I had my real estate license. I was doing real estate transactions while I was building my publishing business, and I'm not ashamed of any of that. I'm very proud of that. And obviously, with the pandemic, things took a turn, and we had to decide, do we keep going, or do we say we had a good run? And we felt like we had a good run and that we didn't need to keep pushing forward just for, let's say, our own ego's sake, right?
Yeah.
And that is when I said, I'm really going to start focusing in on my real estate career. I had built it up for about 7 to 8 years at that point, but now I was going in a very unique situation from a part-time agent to a full-time agent. And that is a completely different mindset shift change because I now had to think, act, talk, and walk like a real estate agent. And that is a whole nother experience. And that is really what brought me from the publishing world now where I am into real estate.
What's been the hardest part to really get the business off the ground that you're finding on the real estate side? Like, you chose an interesting time to get in because the market is shifting, the industry is shifting, right? So everything's in a little bit of a shifting market right now. What's been the hardest thing?
I will say the hardest thing is realizing that, okay, this is going to sound crazy, but you're not special being in real estate, right? You are one of many thousands and thousands of people. And I realized that I have to work harder. And what I mean by harder is be very smart and practical about my marketing advertising techniques. I can't just go onto Instagram, make a post and shout to the world I'm in real estate and expect to get business. It does not work like that. There have been people working for decades past me that have this market saturated, that have the clients built in, and they have the referrals. And so once you really understand, hey, that's okay. I can still make a path for myself. I just have to be very intentional about what I'm doing and not be upset that just because I'm in real estate, I have to expect everybody to give me business. And last year, we all know that it was the worst real estate in the last 30 years that we've ever seen. I also say that is the best time to be in real estate if you really want to succeed, because you will have to do things you probably didn't expect you'd have to do in a fantastic market, right? And if you notice, take a look at the really great real estate agents in your area. They're probably doing the same things, whether they're in a good market or a bad market. They have to be consistent And I don't think it's good to get in a good real estate market when you're a brand new agent. You will not have the skills to adapt when things take a turn for the worse, and they inevitably will. It's ups and flows in real estate in the market, and we have to be ready for that.
Agree. I mean, I've heard people say it's a professional's market is what it is today. If you're not a professional, if you can't showcase your value. Also, like Jimmy Mackin shared a stat. I was listening to one of his talks at a conference we were at, and he shared a stat that 49% of people in your contact list today know 5 other real estate agents at the same level they know you. And that, to just double down on your point of you're not unique, you're not special. And when it comes to real estate, because they know 5 other people just like you, it really comes down to, I know you and I agree on this. It's like the relationship and the brand that you build. Can you talk to us about the brand and the relationship building and how you kind of think strategically about building your business?
Sure. One of the great elements I realized when I built the publishing business is I had to convince there was a value to people with a piece of paper, and that value was thousands of dollars, right? And now taking this and what I did is I talked to people. I met people. I built real relationships, and they cared about us when we built the magazine. And it was mutual. I wasn't doing that just to make money. I realized that I was never going to make any business if I didn't grow that relationship. Now going into real estate, it's exactly the same thing. And to your point, everybody knows a great real estate agent. I bet you the 5 real estate agents that those people know, they're all probably equally talented. So it's just a matter of what are you going to do that's above and beyond to attract that person. And really, I do that through a lot of lifestyle marketing. And really, when I think about lifestyle marketing, I'll use Gary Vee, who referenced it as, and maybe not everyone agrees with this perspective, but I do, is that you really need to be your digital mayor of your town. He referenced that you cannot be selling all the time. We cannot be shouting from the rooftops that we're real estate all the time. And by being a digital mayor, what this means, and there's different variations of this, is knowing your area, being the ambassador of your town, understanding what is happening, where to go, and what to do, and selling a lifestyle outside of a home. I'm selling in Florida, so I may be a little bit more fortunate that a lot of people are still moving here. But there are tons of people throughout the country that have areas that are like this, where you can showcase the value and what it is like to be in your town. And how could you do this? You can do this tons of ways. You can do this through social media. You can make long form content on YouTube. You can make a podcast and talk about local daily news and events. You didn't take that long form piece of content, turn it into short form, and put it into reels on Instagram. You can send it as an email newsletter. There's lots of tactics, but really the reason anyone's doing that is for the follow-up, the reminding of somebody, hey, I'm in real estate, but I can't be selling all the time. Let me just show the value I can bring. And that's something that for me is very important.
Who are you?
Name's Joshua. I just got into real estate, and my business cards aren't working.
You're still using business cards to create a first impression?
Yeah.
Dude, what if I told you you could hand out a copy of your very own personally branded magazine for less than the price of a fancy Starbucks drink? You can be the proud owner of a beautifully designed 48-page coffee table publication branded with your image and contact information in 6 key places.
I mean, that sounds great, but I just see you're doing an ad read.
Ask me about the evergreen articles.
What about the evergreen articles?
I'm glad you asked. Between the covers are evergreen articles and recipes your clients will love, and includes 2 tear-out cards in each magazine that are great for sharing. You tell us who's more likely to stand out from the competition, an agent with a business card or one with their very own magazine. To request a free sample, visit remindermedia.com/staypaidnewagent. That's remindermedia.com/staypaidnewagent. Take action on this today.
Wow, that sounds great.
Hey Josh, I have an update on... What are you doing?
I was just doing an ad read and forget about it. How do you stand out in a market like South Florida? Or like, have you figured out sort of how to just niche down really tight into like the Palm Beaches area? Like, how are you I mean, there's so much content and there's so many big names, like you mentioned, celebrities and stuff. How are you standing out?
So it's one through utilizing my media of Hello Palm Beaches, which is a lifestyle. However, I'm also doing other actionable things on the back end. I am focusing particularly on direct mail through absentee owners. We have a large base of absentee owners, and anyone can do this. You can go, you can find an area where you can get the zip codes. Actually, a lot of MLSs offer it for free if you're through the database. If you're a realtor still these days, you can access a lot of these zip codes even in your own neighborhood for free. You turn them into mailers and you can target people. And you can also make sure that the thing is with that is though, and this is with any media, you have to keep doing it consistently. You can't send out one mailer and expect to get business. It has to be over time. I think there's a fake saying in marketing. I don't know if you guys have heard this, that you have to see something 7 times before you actually
We have
remember.
heard that fake saying.
I don't know if it's real or not, but if you think about it, it's probably pretty true. You have to see something over and over again, and then you're like, oh yeah. And the reason why I think finding a niche is really important is I could do a mass mailing to my entire neighborhood over and over again. But for me, absentee owners are people that may or may not be thinking about selling, especially in a great market. They have this additional asset they might want to offload. And so finding a niche in real estate is very important that you can then market and advertise to, in addition to the other content forward facing things you might be doing. So you start to see this kind of full circle perspective of what it takes. And really, I mean, what nobody really talks about is how much of an entrepreneur you have to be to get into this business. We're talking about marketing, advertising, sales, mindset. You're an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to get into this business, you have to adapt that mindset. And I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but I feel like people that are natural performers make really good real estate agents.
Agree. Yeah, you see a lot of musicians, a lot of actors, stuff like, yeah, I agree.
I think I know why. Because when you have to go out to an audition, I mean, I'm going to lump myself into this. I wanted to be an actress back in the day, and I've always been a performer. But to go out and take ridicule and rejection and be able to be told no nonstop, picking up a phone going, hey, let's check it in on what you're doing, doesn't seem as bad as having to put yourself out there as a performer. So I don't know. I think performers are naturally probably good real estate agents.
I remember when I showed up to the coffee house and to play music and only one person showed up.
Oh, only one person.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Did they buy your tape though?
Nope. I played a lot of shows where there was only 3 people in the audience, one being my mom.
Yeah. And I love that you're using direct mail and obviously that strategy. You said you can't just blast them over and over again with the same thing. Like, what's your sort of strategy? Like, what are you sending the absentee owners? What's the messaging? What's sort of your cadence? Like, what does that actually look like?
Sure. So I'm doing mine on a quarterly basis, so 4 times a year. And I'm sending letters. I am personally not doing postcards. I am taking an envelope, I'm putting a stamp on it. It's a little bit of extra layer. However, I've actually yielded results and I've gotten listings this way. And it does take the time, but people are more inclined. And obviously, it's a demographic thing, right? If I'm sending mail, it's probably a certain demographic of people that are going to more be likely to open up mail, right?
Yeah.
But it actually works. And the messaging that I use is I'll do different messaging every time. A lot of times I'll put QR codes on. I love QR codes. Remember when they first started and it seemed so weird, and then the pandemic hit, we're like, thank God for QR codes.
Yeah.
But I put that in to direct people to, my YouTube channel and talk about what's going on, because a lot of my
super smart.
They don't live here. So you're kind of making these connections. And I think that you can, even if you don't know what to mail somebody, if you're like, this is a good idea, what do I do? You could just kind of Google search direct mail letters. There's a lot of great examples out there. And another hot tip, if you want to get the mailers, is there's a company called the Share Group. They're really fantastic, and you can directly buy their the dresses from them as well.
Okay, that's fantastic. I know we interviewed, what was it, the guy from Simply Noted?
Yeah.
Didn't we interview him? And they do
Rick
handwritten.
Elmore?
Yeah, Rick. They have like robots do it, and I don't normally recommend any of the robotic handwritten letters because you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
He's the only company I've seen, and this was his claim to fame. Like he said, he spent $1 million or whatever kind of creating this to be able to, like, no letter is written the same way.
Yeah.
Like,
each letter has a different imprint, like the pen smears.
The amount of press, exactly. It's pretty amazing. And when he sent it to us, I was like, wow, I would not be sure this was definitely a robot. I would think it's probably a human. So Simply Note is a good one that people can look into as well. Absentee owners, I think, is super smart. My brother, who's in Virginia, different market, but he goes after absentee owners. He buys a list of about 1,000 in the surrounding areas, and they call through them, but they've also done direct mail to them consistently. And he, does a lot with investors as well. So it's a great way to find properties for investors. So if you have investors, because a lot of times absentee owners are run down, I always tell people when they're picking a geographic farm, your low-hanging fruit is absentee owners in that geographic farm, FSBOs in the geographic farm, and then expired listings in the geographic farm. Because all those people, they have a reason to sell and a reason to move. So talk to us a little bit. You're building this whole brand. What'd you call it? Hello Palm Beaches? What is it?
There you go. That's it.
Hello Palm Beaches. So when you think about the content that you're putting on there, like you think this next week, next 2 weeks, maybe next month, what are you thinking about posting on Hello Palm Beaches, like from social to emails to whatever you're doing there? How do you think that through?
I'm thinking like a person. Just to preface this, anytime you make content, you have to think about your ICA, which is your ideal customer avatar. What are their concerns, problems, and habits? Okay, so a concern or habit is, I want to go to the Palm Beaches. I don't know where to go. I want to go to the city, but I don't know the best restaurants. I want to travel around, but I don't know the best park, and I have a family, and where do I take my child? If you start to think about the concerns or problems that your ICA has, then you can directly make content that is best suited for that. If you even go back to the absentee owner, what's a concern that my ICA might have that doesn't live here is, who's the knowledgeable real estate agent in my area? I don't know the market in Palm Beach County area. I'm in New Jersey. Who can help me? So I start to think about that when I'm drafting a letter, that I can be of help and service because I know X, Y, and Z about the market in the real estate here. So anytime anybody makes content, you have to be thinking about that. And then you start to answer a bunch of questions. Another thing is, think about if you go to another area, what do you do? You start to ask the best restaurants, the best places to go. And this encompasses the lifestyle marketing. But remember, people are buying a home, but they're buying what else is beyond that home. They're buying into the school district. They're buying they're buying into the plaza that's across the street. I did a listing where they were building a brand new plaza right across the street on this vacant land, and there's restaurants. And I incorporated that into the body of my video that I created about the home, and I had my photographer drive the drone over there and just showcase what was coming up in the next few months. And then, wow, people are like, I can take a golf cart and I can go eat sushi across the street. This is great. I think everywhere there's been a lot of construction and buildup, so you may not even know what's going on in your own city that you just tap into and pay attention and could be of value and of service to a potential buyer.
I love that. A great tip would be going to the local board meetings or the local commission meetings and friending, the zoning commissioner, those type of things, because they know, like I think about where I'm at in Harleysville, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Philadelphia. And like, I want to know there's this plot of land up the road from me that I can tell something's happening. I want to know.
You've been obsessed with this plot of land.
No, but this is a different one. There's two plots. See, I'm obsessed with land. This one, though, I'm like, what's going to go in there? And I just heard that a Wawa is probably coming in there, Wawa gas station. There you go. And I go, yeah, if you're an agent, that's valuable. That's valuable to everybody in that community. If you get the inside information of what's coming in, right? If it's a Taco Bell or, a Chick-fil-A or Wawa, like that's valuable to that local community, and it shows your stuff. And so I think that's a great idea, but I'm not sure how you would get the data. I'm sure there's sites out there to do it, but you could go friend or at least go to the local board stuff. Local, board meetings, the zone commissioners, whatever they're called. I don't know what it is in different townships and counties, but I would definitely get connected there.
Yeah, absolutely. Any value add you can give beyond just being a real estate agent, I think that elevates you in a way that maybe a lot of agents are not thinking about. But look, if you don't have business, you can do this tomorrow. You don't have to have listings to go and film the best parks in your area. You don't have to have any business. Just start doing that. there's even, you can go to open houses. I mean, not all real estate agents allow this, which I find odd, but ask to take video of the open house and showcase, hey, if you're interested in this area, let me show you what's around. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. If you don't have business today, you can go out and start creating content to showcase your knowledge as a real estate agent.
That's so good.
Awesome. Angela, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your insights. Before we close out, let people know how they can connect with you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Hello Palm Beaches. Also, you can follow me, Angela Yungk, spelled Yungk, as my last name. But yeah, I just love to stay connected with people that want to keep learning. And I love talking about this kind of content all the time.
Awesome. So I pronounced your name right in the beginning.
You did.
I did it. Fantastic. I actually watched your interview with the company that you mentioned. I can't remember the company that you said.
Share Group, yes.
Yeah, with Share Group. Yeah, I watched that interview. So there you go. Thank you again, Angela, for coming on the show. And thank you all for listening. If you like this episode and want to support the show, head on over to Apple Podcasts, drop us a 5-star review along with a comment. We'll read it here on the show. The best way to support the show is to share this episode with someone that you know. To get all of the notes and the links that Angela mentioned for the show, you can go to staypaidpodcast.com for those show notes, as well as the video of this episode. And of course, you can get all those show notes in whatever podcast player you're listening to. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram as well. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Angela, you are a rock star. You are going to crush it in real estate. You already are, but I can tell you're gonna really crush it. Congrats on all your success. And then my action item for everybody listening to this, I think is, pretty clear. It's how are you showcasing some of the lifestyle content that's happening in your area. You just got a myriad of different ideas, right? You could showcase the local parks. You could showcase the local restaurants. You could showcase what's coming into the area from a development standpoint. Myriad of ideas. But the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every industry is top producers take action. So take action on one of those ideas today.